Happy uncertainty time. Congratulations. Congratulations on your circumstances being so overwhelming that you have to connect to something beyond it. Congratulations on new possibilities. Congratulations on the birth of what's true. Congratulations on you meeting you. Congratulations on this moment right now, the only thing that's true. Yeah, everything has been stripped away. And before things have been stripped away, I know for some people, not everything's been stripped away, but before a lot of the things that we knew we were doing have been stripped away from us, before that, we lived in a little pattern of kind of happy and kind of fear. But that level of fear that we've been living in was okay for us. It's like we're always used to kind of being in our heads or kind of not being present or kind of figuring out what to do. We've always kind of been a little bit selfish. We've always kind of been a little bit not truly connected to ourselves. And then life goes, I'm going to take your ability away to know that you can drive down the street. I'm going to take your ability away to fly to another country. I'm going to take money away. I'm going to take some jobs away. I'm going to take your kids out of school. I'm going to make you have absolutely no certainty. And then I'm going to pitch this to you in 9 million different angles. You can watch what's going on CNN and hear how horrible Trump is, or you can watch Fox News and hear about how great Trump is and that this is about the coronavirus, or you can become a conspiracy theorist and think maybe there's something beyond this, which is totally also possible. And you can go, that's what this is. This is the deep state. No, this is the QAnon is going to arrest no, this is this other thing. And you can just finally at one point go, guess what? I don't know. I don't know. And in that I don't know-ness, because that's true, you can see researched things about the level of what's going on, that the coronavirus is not actually that big, that it's not real, that it's a bioweapon, that it's nothing, that actually it's a horrible thing. You can hear so many different things. And really the truth, and they're all researched and proven. And you can go, also, I don't know. You can go, what if it's my job to not know? What if I don't know? And what could I grab onto if I'm not grabbing onto my current circumstances or the circumstances of what's coming up? And what if your circumstances, whether they were mediocre before this event or now while they seem to be falling apart, what if your circumstances were the things that you always were looking at every day? And because you're always looking at them, you're never looking at you. What if your circumstances falling and you look at the thing, what does this mean? The coronavirus, what does this mean? What does this mean? Is you staring at the worst case scenario and not making room for what's true? And what if instead you undo yourself from constantly being in the practice of being in a negative mindset because we're addicted to looking at what could be going wrong and receiving what's true in this moment right now? What is true in this moment right now? What is true? You're loved in this moment right now. Can you receive on the other side of things falling over, old stories falling over? Can you receive what you are? One of the things I was talking about on a morning call this morning with someone that was so incredible was we get to see a lot of our patterns when we're in an emergency situation from our childhood, right? Some people who grew up in a world of debt maybe look in their childhood and go, okay, debt is the thing that I've lived in. And, I'm reflecting on that. Or you could be like, you had a family that always figured it out. So like now you're figuring out part of you is kicking in, right? And it's just here and it's trying to do everything it can to figure it out. Or maybe your fixer is showing up and goes, if I don't help everybody, the entire world is going to fall apart. Or maybe your, loneliness or your fear of abandonment is showing up. Now, usually when these things show up, these things are exposed. So we try to do something totally different. We try to go to another place, right? And like, so as Jenny just said, I feel abandoned again. So what we usually do when we feel abandoned is we grab someone that won't abandon us. We ask people to not leave us. We do everything we can to say, stay here, or I need to find someone because I feel abandoned. But what if you're being put in a position that's past your childhood pattern where you could be with a part of you that feels abandoned? Where you could be with a part of you that feels like you're scared to be in debt? Where you could be with a part of you that feels lonely, where you could be with a part of you that's always there to help everyone else, and just bring this moment's compassion to that. Exactly. This is an amazing time where everyone is actually being forced to surrender and be alone with their thoughts. I feel like everyone is going to evolve. Yeah, if you just kind of live on social media right now, you are going to feel how addicted you are really quickly right now because you're stuck in the house, right? A lot of us are stuck in our house. You can't go to work. You can't go to little escapees here, go to the store, go to the mall, go to a restaurant, right? You're here with you. So you're here with you and it's just like, okay, Facebook, blah, okay, Instagram, okay, blah, YouTube, okay. Boom. I can see how addicted that I am. So I'm going to be here. And I'm noticing all these patterns that kick in that say, oh, this means this, and this means this, and this means this. And we have this incredible opportunity to be here for those patterns. Just say, this moment is holding you. And then you get to switch from being a pattern to being this moment, the moment that's here for the pattern. I've noticed some of my patterns kick in lately. My fixer, my what are we going to do? And I'm not just being here sometimes for it. And then I just go, no. I'm here. And I'm present for you. And if you were present, imagine that this might be the very, very, very first time in your life that you might be able to connect to a frequency that's higher than your circumstances, right? Like, let's say you had a job that was pretty good, that you really liked, but it wasn't like your soul. Well, now you're connected to that level. Okay, it's pretty good. But if we take that away, now you're connected to past that. Right? Oh, I had a pretty good relationship. It was pretty good. Okay, it's here. Now you're either going to connect with yourself and that person will connect with themselves and you guys will move to something that's higher, or you're going to say, this falls apart and now I connect to here. Other than doing a bunch of one-on-ones tomorrow with people, which is like what I'm doing right now. I'm just enjoying being kind of in the house and working with different people. If you're interested in that, you can write info@kylecease.com. Way to be on it, Lindsay. Just put that there, right there. Other than that, I'm spending pretty much almost all of the day in meditation because it's very easy to get caught in any form of what you think is the news, no matter what, whether you are watching it on YouTube, different stories, all these different things. You can also receive what's actually true because nothing that anything is telling you on YouTube is true. The truth is this space. It's this silence. It's what's going on beyond it. It's what's trying to birth. It's what the universe is trying to do through you. That's what's true. what I'm saying is pointing at the truth, but not your truth. It's what's coming through. I'm talking about the truth, but I'm just pointing at the truth the most that I can. Your job is to receive the truth. And like today, I had a moment where I was stressing and I was looking at a couple things and I meditated, and an immediate thing showed up that was higher than any solution that I was trying to find when I was in my head. Because when you're in your head, you try to find a solution, or you get stressed, or you have these reactions. But the truth is, we're not here to be in our head. We're here to be. And life is doing what it can right now to get us to be, because doing is too hard now. Doing is too hard. And more meditation doesn't necessarily mean like it's this job, this mission where you have to sit there and do this thing. It's just like, I just want to close my eyes, be comfortable, and receive now. Because there are voices trying to talk to you. And guess what those voices are that are trying to talk to you? They're you. The higher level ideas, the new creativity, the inspired actions are you talking to you. It can't be the patterns. Most of us call us, we say I, and then we follow it with a pattern, but that pattern can leave and you can still be here. So there's no way that a pattern is you, right? If you say, I am a waiter, well, if that goes away, then you go away, right? If you are a waiter, if that goes away, then you go away. So it's impossible that's you, because that can change and you could still be here. If it's I'm a millionaire, if that goes away, do you go away? No. Is it I'm broke? If that goes away, do you go away? See, we attach an I to something that's temporary. But what is calling to you? What is coming through? What is trying to be seen right now? And if you listen long enough, the parts of you that could go away, go away. And then you can finally receive this, because everything is trying to tell you everything all the time, but it's clouded in our fear. So it's right here. Like imagine that the sun is still exactly where the sun is, but sometimes there's clouds that come through. The sun doesn't go farther away, or it doesn't become more unreachable. It's just there's clouds in between. And fear are the clouds in between you and love. They're the illusion between you and the highest you. It is the fog, it is the lie that is in between you and a high version of you. And a high version of you is telling you what to do every single second. But we spend almost every day listening and saying I to the pattern. And the patterns are falling. So if you just let this rubble kick up and you let this stuff be here, we have this insane opportunity. Some people are saying, we might be in our houses till August. Now, most people hear that and go, I'm like, I might meditate till August? I might hear the sun till August? And I don't know. Only right now. Only right now. That's what's true. This space right here. The only thing that's true. Your mind and my mind, if you've been at all talking to anyone anywhere, is full of what is temporary and calling it true, right? It's full of what will happen. Even what will happen is temporary. What you think will happen is temporary. What's going on now is temporary. What issue is coming up is temporary. What about the money thing is temporary. Everything in your mind from almost everything that we did today is temporary shit, and it's in the way of what's true. And the truth holds space for the temporary. The truth transcends the temporary. The truth fixes the temporary. right? That's true. The truth, instead of going, how do we not go broke? The truth is trying to give you the space to receive abundance. How do we not do that? How do we not get sick? The truth is trying to give you health. It's trying to give you a positive you so that you're not stressing all the time and more susceptible to illness. The truth is trying to bring everything together. Oh, I'm scared I'll be abandoned. Well, the truth is trying to give you the space to feel loved even when you're alone. The truth is trying to heal all those inner child things. The truth is trying to heal even the passing fear that the news just gave you. It's trying to give you everything. It will do that. It's impossible for it to not to if you listen to it long enough. It's impossible. And that's our job, to listen to it long enough and stop listening to the clouds. Listen to the clouds just enough to make sure, like, if they're saying be inside, right? Okay, be inside. But not anything past that. Do you receive the truth right now? Do you receive that you're enough? Do you receive that everything's okay? Do you receive that? And when your mind goes, no, it's not, you're looking at the temporary. You're looking at something someone told you so they can sell something. No, it's not. Well, you're looking at something someone said, and even if it's not okay, can you receive that everything's okay? Do you get that? Even if you're convinced that later everything goes to shit, can you also receive that it's okay? Can you receive that everything's okay even if another Great Depression happens or we all die of coronavirus? Can you receive that's okay? Can you hold space for both sides? Can you hold space for the infinite and not just live in the small story of the temporary? See, this moment holds space for even both sides of the veil. It finds love in also the idea of death. See, the ego is only here to survive. The ego is doing everything it can to survive because it's horrified of death. But death is a part of life, not necessarily only physical death, the death of a relationship that doesn't work, the death of, our cells all day, the death of the leaves that fall off the trees. Can we be a space for both life and death? Without knowing what death is, just hold it, because in your mind, death is just a thought, not death. Do you understand that? Death is in your mind. So you're not scared of death. You're scared of a thought. And that thought is an unknown. So you have a thought of death. Can you be there for that thought? Because it's probably not even an actual thought of death. It's a thought of a death in your childhood. So it's a thought of a death some other way. We need it. We need to find the capacity of love. The universe has a capacity to love life and death. Now, the more you're okay with the thoughts of death, not that we're aiming for it, not that we ever want to die, not that we're trying to, the more you're okay with the thoughts, because really the thoughts of death are actually the thoughts of the unknown. And we believe that we need to know how everything's going to go because we're so scared of the unknown, right? Now, I'm not saying, someone just said, I'm scared for the children in my childcare. I hear that. That doesn't mean we don't do actions to still survive. I'm talking about the egoic, fear-based panic that the news and life is trying to bring to you right now, so that you hand your power over to other people and say, you fix everything. To everyone else, fear is the ultimate weapon. And you have a capacity to even bring love to the thought of death. And in that capacity, nothing can touch you, nothing can trigger you, nothing can hurt you. You're infinite love. You're moving like the universe now. And in this space, you can hear other people. In this space, you can be a capacity for other people. You can understand how every person thinks. That's one of the things that's coming out of this right now. Being a space for everyone, because you're now a space for all of you. I have no idea what's going to happen, and I love that. I have no idea what this is, and I love that. I have no idea how long I'm going to be in my house, and I love that. I have no idea if I'm going to pay rent next month, and I love that. But I also have no idea what the rest of the world's going to do. Maybe no one's paying rent next month. Who knows? And when you look at you as a child and you see the patterns that you were taught, you have to learn to forgive them, because those were patterns that you were taught. Like, for instance, if right now you're unveiling a pattern of you that's very hard on yourself about money, remember, the government, the school, probably your parents, most cases did not teach us about money. Everything we've ever done, ever, was the best we knew how. Everything. Can you bring that level of compassion to yourself? Everything you've ever done in your childhood, as you got older, was the best with what you knew. Can you bring that compassion to yourself? And how in debt is the government? We're not our thoughts. So only let the ones that make you feel good in. Do not let the rats in the hay barn. And know that even the rats that come in, you have a capacity to be there for them too. Like, can you make space for the rats to be there? All the crappy thoughts, but you have a compassion for them. So they're coming and going. You don't have to fix it. See, the ego goes, only think positive. And that's nice, and that can be cool. But the space is even bigger than positive or negative. It's just the space. See, if you look at how the space works and how the universe works in life, it doesn't have a part of it that says, no negative things happen. God and the universe hold space for everything. If nothing ever negative happened to you, you'd never grow. There'd be no growth. We are getting the greatest opportunity to grow right now. Our circumstances could have remained comfortable forever. The biggest thing you have right now, the biggest thing you have is bigger than anything you've ever had. Can you take that in? The biggest thing that's available right now, and you might be forced to move to, is bigger than anything you've ever had. For instance, let's say, just to give an example, you've lost $1 million. I'm sure that's not the case for almost all of us, but let's say that was the thing. Remember, you were what brought in that $1 million. So you are the space that brought it in, and our job is to reconnect to the space that's worth way more than that. That space that you can connect to is the same space that Elon Musk connects to. It's the same space that anyone that's ever done anything ever connected to. But usually we go, I'm the potential story. I'm the passing story. I'm the thing. So we go, I'm that thing. Well, that collapsed. Boom. Welcome to who you actually are. If you take the time to receive it, if you take the time to live it, if you take the time to listen to it. Right now, I promise you, most of us are in the negotiation phase of grief. Do you get what I mean by that? Your circumstances are falling. So right now we're in the negotiation phase where we're still trying to keep them up, right? Our circumstances are falling, and if you're trying, and inside of your body is the bodily match to the external circumstances. So the circumstances fall, and now the body is trying to keep this part of your body, the bargaining phase, right? It's trying to keep this up. So I'm going to keep this going. No. Let me keep this going. Let me keep this going. Let me keep this going. But you could also just, at one point, you're going to be tired of the old way. Okay? At one point, you're going to be tired of the old way. And your job will be to surrender to that fall. That fall will happen. You know why? Because it was about to happen now. Nothing that you actually are can fall. But the creativity and the brilliance and the freedom and the spirit of what you are cannot be touched. Are you with me on that? What you are not is the only thing that can fall apart. It just might have been a tool you used to create something, but you're the ultimate creator. And that cannot be touched. What you are cannot fall apart. It can't be touched. So you're being connected to the thing that's infinite. You're being connected to the thing that can't fall apart. But before you do, you might have to go through a bargaining phase where you keep trying to keep the things that you've been accidentally calling you. I have this job. I have this house. I have this income. I have this story. I fly here. I'm this traveler. Whatever. I'm always healthy. Whatever. It's falling. And you probably are going to go through, we're all going to go through a couple weeks of bargaining. We can't help it. You can't even I'm bargaining and overdo it. Never mind, I'm not going to bargain. Okay, but it's probably going to keep going until it's tired. And the bargaining phase usually is whatever the pattern is that keeps that thing going. So once you finally surrender and you are tired of bargaining, you'll probably cry. And you'll probably go, and once you cry, you'll notice that the stress that you had before you cried, you'll think is about your circumstance. But when you cry, you'll suddenly be here. And you'll be really in alignment with this moment. Because the circumstance is what you're crying out. You'll think that I have to get this circumstance changed to not cry. Or to be happy again. But once you cry out the inner version of your external circumstance that's already collapsed, now you've changed channels. You've changed channels. You're now on a channel where you can receive ideas that you actually couldn't receive because you were connected to the story that was still attached to your body. Are you with me? Higher level ideas can be received because you cried out the pattern that was in this mission to keep the old alive. Try having a polyamorous partner, you cry your ass off. Yes. And most of us cry only based on the external, right? But the real gift is what this is. This is going to make us cry the internal. Do you get what I mean by that? I don't think I froze. Can you guys hear me? Okay. In other words, you can cry because a movie made you cry, but it's just kind of tiptoeing around something inside you and not actually changing it, right? Like I watched E.T. fly away and then I cried, right? That triggered in me a feeling of abandonment, but I didn't cry out the source of the abandonment, right? It's just kind of crying because of an external. Wait until you purge the internal version of you, right? The external falls out, you bargain with it, try to keep it up, and then you're stuck releasing. Maybe a couple weeks later, a few weeks later, right? Here you are a few weeks later. And now you're starting with new material, invisible magic material, but you're starting with new material. Everything you've ever built, ever, was still with a bunch of patterns that aren't what you are. And if that's falling over, let the patterns fall out too, so you can be even more connected to source this time. Does that make sense? Everything you've ever created was still created with a bunch of patterns. Now imagine if you created something 15 years ago with patterns, and then you had it for 15 years. So you can't leave your patterns, because if you do, what you created will fall apart. So you're now stuck to what you've created, whether it's a relationship, where you live, a story, whatever it is. Now you're stuck to the thing, and you're stuck in your patterns because you didn't change you. The patterns created this. And now it falls apart. The economy knocks it out, whatever. Coronavirus takes it out. Don't keep building shit from the same patterns. Don't build shit from the same patterns. Those patterns need to be cried out too. Let you be sad about what it took, but then be vulnerable and emotionally exposed to the idea that the pattern that built the thing that was taken away also is no longer needed. Through love, through a new level of love, through universal you, through whatever. Here you are receiving a higher version of you. Don't create anything from the same path. Like, that's what a lot of us do, right? You get in a relationship, and you're in a relationship for years, and you have this amazing relationship, but sometimes you might be changing. Some relationships you change and it's not the pattern that created it. But sometimes you go, this person feels good, this person's a match. Well, they're a match to your patterns in most cases, unless you're really, really, really doing the inner work, in which case you probably don't need a relationship. But let's say this is the person, boom. They feel good. I don't feel abandoned. I don't feel lonely anymore. Boom. I don't have to look at myself. I don't have to feel my pattern. This person's the answer. Then let's say you're with that person for 10 years and you're never having to look at yourself fully because of this thing. This person filled this thing, whatever. Then they fall apart. You guys break up. Boom. Now, your pattern's about to fall out unless you find someone that's just like the last person. You could go, boom, this pattern needs to find a date. No. Let that pattern be pulled out of you. Don't fill it. Be completely confused and lost, and let that happen. That's what the universe is giving you right now. The big freaking flashlight on your pattern. Tiffany nailed it. That's what we call a switch-evasion. That's where you leave one thing and then grab another thing that's exactly the same. A switch-evasion. But what about you? And the pain, feel it. The pain is you being with either, there's two types of pain I find too. There's the stagnant hold on pain, the addictive pain. That's where your circumstances are just good enough so you kind of don't even feel, right? That's actually some of the most depressed people, when their circumstances are so fine enough that they actually feel kind of a stagnancy. So because the things are good enough or just addictive enough, they can't actually feel. That's one kind of pain. That's you ignoring your soul because your patterns have built your circumstances. And now if they fall, your pattern is exposed, but you're scared of that. So you kind of keep everything going and you're just living in a pattern. The second kind of pain that I think is a better pain is the pattern that shows up when you fall apart, when things fall apart, when you lose something, whether it's through, a death, whether it's through a breakup, whether it's through a business. It's almost like some of us are in this place where, boom, now that this is open, it's like I feel more in my body. I want to still cry all the time. I feel like I'm really sad, but at the same time, I'm also noticing glimpses of possibilities and euphoria that I hadn't found when I was in the first pain, right? So here's this new pain of, I feel like shit. But also what is birthing? I feel wide open. I feel amazing. What is birthing in me? That's the second pain. But one is keeping something that you're not here, and the other is releasing something that you're not. All pain is the goodbye to something that you're not. All pain is something that you're not. What are you? Have you given yourself permission to say, I want to see what I am? Right? Have you given yourself permission to say, I want to know what I am right now? I want to know what I am right now. What a thing to say to the universe when it rips apart all of the things that held you falsely together. You've been like a sculpture that's been taped together for years. Just taped together. Just, a bunch of duct tape and everything. And like, look, and we've been advertising how great our life is to each other when inside we're in so much pain. We're on Facebook. Look at my perfect wedding and look at my perfect da-da-da-da-da-da. Boom. The universe is like, boom. And just like pieces all over the floor. What's here? What's here right now? What's here right now? How could those pieces have fallen apart and I'm still here? How could all those things that I said was me fall apart and I'm still here? And then you're like, I'm going to get these pieces back together because that's me. No, it's not. It's not. No, I got to get this back together. I got to get this story. This is me. This is what I've done for 20 years. No. Get it down. It's time for a new you to birth. Yeah, but I got to no. What are you going to keep retaping this shit together when I can knock it down? Why do we want to be so weak? Why are we fighting to be so fragile and totally disconnected from source and totally not ourselves? Why are we dying to be a story? That is a pattern talking. You did not come to this planet to keep a big fake story going so you could get by. You are a magical, creative, holy shit being, and life is trying to birth that right now. Life is going to birth that from you right now. Life is forcing it right now. But the question is, do we take it? Do we take it? Because tomorrow it could be very easy to go, okay, life is birthing that right now, and back to YouTube, back to addictions, back to whatever. Do we take it? Do we receive it? Right? Okay, boom, boom, boom. Yes. But do I get my old story back together? Yeah, it's going to fall apart again. The Dow's going to go down again. It'll probably go fake up a little bit and then go down again. More shit. Then eventually all our houses are worth $3. New life needs to be born. New life needs to be born right now. Can you actually feel that? Let's say, check this out. I want you to notice this. Let's say that tomorrow they announce, never mind, Corona's fine. Everything went back up. Take a second and notice something. Notice the slight, okay, good. I'm back to my old story. And shit. Can you feel that? Let's say they said, obviously we want everyone to be healthy, right? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, imagine if it was suddenly like, everything's fine. And you're like, wait, so I can stay in my shitty pattern? Obviously, we want everyone to be healthy. I hope that didn't sound like that. But like, let's say it's like, all right, everything's fine. Market's back up. Everything's fine. And you personally don't have to look at your shit. And you can go back to whatever pattern you were running 2 months ago. You can go back to the same thing. You can go back to the same story. You can go back to the same thing. We're going to get everything back how it was in January. Notice that, wait. Actually, I don't know that I want that. And if anyone felt that, honor that, because the bargaining is you trying to get back a world that you might not want. It's the giant etch-a-sketch. What if life is shaking your etch-a-sketch right now? All of our etch-a-sketch. There's something amazing about it's all of us, right? It's not even just America. It's like every country but like Israel and two others. I think two others don't have it. It's like there's a few countries left that don't have it. So we got to look at the fact that we actually, in many cases, from what I just read here, not everybody wants the old life. So we're kind of moving from this pain to this pain. We're moving from the stagnant pain to the new pain, the all of you pain, the meet God pain. And the question is, are you willing to meet source now? This is amazing. Look at all the I don't want to go back. If you could go back to that job you kind of were skating through life at, if you could go back to just getting things going, would you do it? Would you do it? Liza says yes. Tiffany says yes. Oh, so a couple would go back? Maybe I'm reading it wrong. Yeah. Would you go back to the old life? Or if life is going today, starting today, right now, I'm trying to give you a clean slate. And you can actually go back to being a child. Because remember when you were a child and you had a fresh slate and every moment you went outside was a new discovery? There's a new discovery and it's asking you to think differently. It's asking you to move in a way that you've never moved. Your pattern moves one way and a new way is trying to birth. So my question for you is, what will you do starting right after this call to receive the new way? What will you do to, awesome, brother. Thank you, Jesse. Right? What will you do to receive the new way? And what are the patterns you have to stay in the old way? Marie Kondo for consciousness. Yeah. Does this life spark joy? Now we'll fold it twice and put it in the Goodwill. Hey, there's a new life coming. We'll put that in the sock drawer, rolled up 90 times. And I'm with you in this. I had to hear this too. I hope you guys join us for some calls. We're going to do a virtual flow group. We're going to do a virtual, like, all kinds of different stuff. If you guys are interested, this thing, imagine, doing we're doing like private 75-minute calls because I'm just going to chill at the computer and work with people. And if you're interested in that, I think there's a thing to fill out, but it's something I'm just excited about and creating. But info at Kyle Cease if you're interested in that. Just working on the highest version of you. Yeah, we can figure it out, Kelly. She said sliding scale. I just want to create. I want to collaboratively create. I want to birth something new. I want to receive this moment. I want to know the highest version of me. And I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this creation. I'm enjoying receiving right now. And that's trying to happen for you. Please know that's trying to happen for you. And many people like to live in the bargaining stage, and you can't much longer. You can't much longer. We are going to be so tired of bargaining when there's nothing there. There's no more slot machine giving you a little bit, just enough so that you don't have to feel. What an insanely amazing time. No matter what the news tells you, no matter what YouTube tells you, no matter what every conspiracy tells you, there's also this perspective. This could be the most amazing time of your life. You might be giving it all up to meet your soul. You might be giving it all up to meet your soul. Would you give it all up to meet your soul? We say yes, but would we? Would we give it all up to meet our soul? All of it. If you are stuck in your house for 3 months, you have the greatest soul opportunity in the world now. You have the greatest opportunity in the world. And once you meet your soul, trust me, everything you gave up will come back at you times a million. Will you give it all up to meet your soul? We need that. The world needs that. There's almost 500 people on this call here to birth an entire new consciousness right now. Not to mention people that'll see this later on YouTube. Do something with this. And if you're in a place where you feel this calling, like you have to go to the world that receives that calling, right? You have to move to a place that receives that calling. You can't receive it through social media all day. You can't receive it through the collective consciousness. You are here to birth the example for the collective consciousness. Everyone has this choice. Do I go to source or do I go to ego? We're looking at that choice right now. This is fun, you guys. I'm all cheered up from being with you. You're amazing supports. You're amazing people. How about I look at these incredible questions here? Stephanie asks, Kyle, as I expand, what do I do about the people in my life who are attached to my old story? Let them be. Let them be. Because what their perception is of your story is their perception of their own story. Everything that people believe about other people is their projection of themselves on other people. So if they say it's impossible for you to become this amazing thing, that's because they see life through their lens, that they say it is impossible for me to become that. Like, to me, I've shifted so many times in my life that I believe you're infinite because I've changed so many things in my life. So my projection on every one of you is you're that amazing. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? My projection, after I've been through my own shifts in my life, after being a stand-up comic, going through that, going through shifting into evolving out loud, my own events for years, going into a new place right now where I'm birthing myself, I see every one of you as a bizarrely infinite, changeable, powerful person, because that's how I see what I can be, right? So when you have people who are saying, you're your old story, that's because they're stuck in their old story. And it's none of your business what they think about you. That's I think a Wayne Dyer quote, but it's true. I love them, but they constantly remind me of their perception of me. How can I move through that? Do you hear that? I love them, but they constantly remind me of their perception of themselves. They just call it you. Literally imagine when someone says, you're not that amazing. They're saying, I'm not that amazing. Really imagine when someone says, oh, you know, what about this shortcoming that I have? Imagine that they're saying I instead of you. They constantly remind me of their perception of me, my shortcomings, my failures. Yeah, that's what you used to be. People did that with me too. They go, you know, you did this a couple of years ago. I'm like, that's not me. I don't care that I did that a couple of years ago. I've changed that about me. I'm totally different. I also used to be a stand-up comic. I also used to be 50 pounds bigger. I also used to be totally different than I am now. I've had so many different things change. So I don't see you as any of your shortcomings because they're changeable and they're always moving. They're always changing. So you can't be your shortcomings. You're just this moment. You're me. You're just this moment. I'm just this moment. So how can I move through that? By understanding the truth. And the truth is that you're this moment. It's impossible you're your shortcomings. Otherwise, we would always have the same shortcoming every day, 1,000 times a day, every minute of our life. If you've ever done something that you see as a shortcoming and then later changed it, you can't be that shortcoming. So instead of going, how do I move through that? Understand that it's actually a factual lie that you are your shortcomings. It's impossible you're your shortcomings, that you're this piece of shit, that you're this bad person, that you're whatever you've done in a wrong way. Stephanie, you're the same as anyone else. If you're your shortcomings, then Jim Carrey auditioned for Saturday Night Live and didn't get it. So he might as well have not ever gone after making a movie. Did you know that Jim Carrey auditioned for Saturday Night Live and didn't get it? Then was suddenly on In Living Color. and then became Jim Carrey. But if he believed he was that, he would have saw the failure of Saturday Night Live and been like, no one wants me. I'm this failure. I don't have that. And then we would not have Dumb and Dumber and Jim Carrey, The Truman Show, everything. Right? So understand the story of your shortcomings, your passing, even the great things about you are nothing compared to what you are. You're just this moment, an infinite changeable being in this moment. That's trying to birth right now. So luckily life is a little more challenging right now. So you don't have time to even give a shit about what they think about you. Stephanie, that's one of the great things about when your life falls apart. You stop listening to what people think. I don't give a shit. I'm going to go for it because nothing matters now. Right? So the more we understand that, it's almost like we have, Michael Jordan didn't make his high school basketball team. Isn't that amazing? It's almost like our life was so convenient that we had the luxury of ever giving a shit about what someone said about us. Did everyone hear that? Our life was, up until 2 weeks ago or whatever, this week, our life was so convenient that we had the luxury of actually thinking that what somebody else says about us is a thing. How comfortable did we get that we actually think that what someone says about us, we have the time to go, what do you think? What do you think? What do you, because we're so comfortable. You think this, but you think this. Goodbye, everybody. I'm going to go be me. I'm going to go be me, and you can think whatever you want about me. You're going to be stuck there because you're not focused on you. You're focused on me. And if your life is staying focused on me, you're going to miss your ability to evolve because you're focused on me. Grow. How convenient is your life if you're taking the time to focus on someone else? How much are you missing out on if you're taking the time to focus on someone else? Thank God life is getting harder, so we have the ability to undo ourselves from the luxury of everyone else's ridiculous opinion about us and move forward. If you're on this call, you're excited to move forward about you. And your job also is to make sure you don't put your attention on other people who have their attention on you, right? Because you're being the same. Even though the focus is on you, you're still focused on them focusing on you. I mean, how convenient is life if we have the time to give a shit about what someone thinks about us? Life needs to kick our ass right now so we can move forward. I mean, how powerful is that? Boom. Diane's getting dizzy, but she gets it. Hell yeah, Diane. Jane says, aloha, Kyle. During these chaotic, I'm feeling so good from this call. During these chaotic, unknown times, I'm finding myself less distracted by the world since it's being shut down anyway. During my meditations and in my life, I'm feeling new energies emerging. Could this whole thing be in the awakening for the collective consciousness? I'm finding ways to connect with myself and God in the world. I have always believed that something new is always trying to show up out of difficulty. What is your take on the collective expansion? Check this out. If you believe with all of your body that what's going on is the birth of a new collective consciousness, that will be the world that you create. That will be true. It has to get to a point where you know for a fact this is what it is. But you run this. You run this. You are more powerful than everything going on. You run this. And I know there's some people that hear that and they go, no, I'm not. And that's the problem. You believe that. If you know it's a fact that that's what it is, by the way, then you'll also take your focus on, is everyone else collective consciousness growing? And you'll find evidence someone isn't. You'll go, this isn't the birth of this. Take in the idea that you run this. Exactly, Lynette. You run this, Jane. Yes, a person that's in alignment is more powerful than millions that are not. And it's scary to be in alignment when you keep going. You start to see what's true and you go, I don't want to go there. It's too lonely. And I have just enough going on that's good enough that I don't have to. Life's like, it's time now. Right? So some people think this is the end of the world, and it will be for them. Some people think that this is everything falling apart, and it will be for them. And some people go, this is that, but then they make themselves receptive to doing the work. Yeah, for Flow Groups, info at Kyle Cease, yes. So that's the thing. That is the intention. What intention do you create for right now? Like, we've had this talk now for about an hour. And in this hour, we've trained our mind to see a completely different thing than if you watch the news for an hour or if you watch a conspiracy video for an hour, right? So if you're in this thinking, and you go into this thinking for a day or 2 days or 3 days or something like that, what happens is an exponential thing. Like, you have this hour, but if you go a second hour where you go into a meditation or a Kalego, or something higher than this, right? You go to a third hour and it's even faster, faster, faster. You go into this place, you will move into an exponential place that you cannot see from here, that will help you understand things. And you will even stop looking at the circumstances to see if it's working. You will just create space for life to match the new birth of the collective consciousness to show up. It will in some ways divinely protect you. It will in some ways help you with different things because you will be on a new level. So some people will, most of us, even most of the people that watch this tonight, some people won't, but will still go look at the circumstances. No, look at the truth. It'll be made public, totally. Look at the truth, not the circumstances. What's the truth of what you are? What is the truth of what you are? What is the truth of what this means? If you watch the news, you will come up with a different truth. If you listen to your heart, it will show you with proof, with evidence, what you are. That's the point of these. That's the point of this. That's the point of what you are. The news will not make money telling you the truth. In fact, they'll lose all their viewers immediately. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm Pat Buchanan or whatever. Our top story tonight, Pat Buchanan is the anchor. Our top story tonight, the consciousness is rising itself by removing all of our mediocre circumstances from us. Everything that we ever thought we are has tumbled, and what we truly are is finally starting to birth. Pat Robertson, the two anchors in my story are Pat Buchanan and Pat Robertson on CNN. Thank you, Pat, the two dudes. That's true. That's Pat Robertson's commentary. That's true, Pat. Yes, the consciousness is rising to finally levels that we've never seen. And because they're unfamiliar, even though some people are freaking out, some of us are finally ready to receive the new level. Here's Jerry Falwell with the latest. Hey, it's me, Jerry Falwell, here to tell why this is happening. Michael Jackson. It is happening. It's so good because we're all moving to a oneness place where all of our lies are falling off. And we'll see the news on a new level, right, Roy Orbison? I was all right. Okay. This isn't helping you now. Crying over over you. You guys, that would be a very bizarre news story if Pat Robertson, Pat Buchanan, Jerry Falwell, Michael Jackson, and Roy Orbison all sat at one table and told you the same news story. I think we all know that would be weak. But if they told you that was the truth, you'd start to kind of want to connect to source more than them, and we'd leave. So the only way to keep people glued to the news, to sell things, to control us, to have us go, please government, take care of us, is to keep us scared. And what you actually are is worth more than all of that. What you actually are is more than all of that. And you've never got to see what that is until now. You could make this call the beginning of your new life. You could make this call the beginning of your new life. Or you could have it to feel good and go back into some patterns, or you could have it to feel good and half go back and half go forward. Whatever you do is perfect. But what are we going to do with it? What do you want to do with it? Do you want to just make this a call that feels good? Or do we want to go, I actually don't want that old life back. It's actually, you know what? Viviana just said, is it easy, Kyle? Does it have to be hard? It's actually so easy that our minds can't handle it. It's so easy. You're so helped. You're so loved. There's so much love for you. But you have to lose the pattern that actually had all the effort. You know, at the meditation retreat last week when we all could fly in 1 week, last week, there was this woman that I was talking to in the audience, and she said that she had been working for Big Pharma. I'm not saying her name. She had worked a job that she didn't love, and then she wanted to be with her horses. And I said, you spending time with your horses will be a bigger deal to them than you having a bunch of money to buy your horses whatever they need. Your horses will never go, boy, she sure bought me a gold-plated barn, but she did, you know, I'd rather my daughter say my dad spent a lot of time with me than bought me the most expensive stuff. And I said, as an example, I said, yeah, like I'm going to buy my daughter, you know, the most expensive Hot Wheels. And I use that as an example. And she goes, Hot Wheel, and which is, by the way, that was my example of me buying something expensive for my daughter. Hot Wheels, a 99-cent car. And she goes, Hot Wheels is the name of my horse. Do you know how crazy that was? This was day 4, where we had meditated for 3 straight days at that point. But I said day 4 was going to be full of synchronicities. And the example I gave of getting something expensive for my daughter as an ad lib, which was so silly, was Hot Wheels. Like, I can give her gold-plated Hot Wheels. And she goes, which, by the way, how often do you say Hot Wheels? How often do you say that? And she goes, Hot Wheels is the name of my horse, and saw that as this crazy sign. And I just was like, wow, life has so much for us when we're not searching for things. When we listen to silence enough, life has things for us that are out of the realm of what we're searching for. They're different. They're bigger, right? So that example was so big. And then, by the way, it was the first time I unzipped my hoodie, and I didn't even know. I had a shirt on that it said Datacorn, but it had a white horse with a unicorn. She goes, my horse is white. I didn't even know. Like I didn't even know I had a horse shirt on, and I had the hoodie on every moment until this dialogue. And so many synchronicities started happening that I started getting, like, the more you're in your connection to source, the more life can come to you in ways you don't understand. And there are literally billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of ways that life is trying to come to you. And we're just sitting here looking for the saving of our old story. I dare you to receive ways that you don't understand right now. I dare you to receive that so much is happening right now. I dare you to receive that you're incredible. I dare you to receive that you're way better than the best thing you've ever seen about yourself. I dare you to receive that you're magical. You're actually magical. I dare you to receive that. I've seen so much magic and so much synchronicity in my life. Right? I thought Steffi was putting the lyrics to Simply Irresistible. A connecting on a principle, ding, ding. Almost impersistible. Yeah, yeah. Something inexpressible. Da, 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 da. Casually connectable, ding, ding. Simply irresistible. Sling. Robert Palmer passed away in 95. I don't know. That's my other weird, bizarre thing. I can tell you when people die. It might have been earlier. It might have been 91. Love you guys. Did you get something out of this? Do you feel some possibilities? Do you feel new you? 2004? No way. I love you guys. You're magic. I know because I know I'm magic, so I'm reflecting to you that you're magic. Please receive it. You guys, it's been an honor to be with you tonight. That felt good tonight.